And welcome to another edition of Bluebird Corner, the Cardff City fans podcast. So happy Sunday to all Cardff City fans after that amazing win yesterday at the Cardff City Stadium, beating Plymouth Argyle convincingly 4-0, could have been 5 or 6. So, and credit to Plymouth as well for bringing down nearly 3,000 fans that added to the atmosphere in front of nearly 22,000 fans. So City's performance, well, I wasn't expecting that kind of win. I've got to be honest. I thought Plymouth, they found a little bit of form in the last couple of games. They were unlucky to lose to the Jacks in the Cup, and they won their first league game before that. So, and they had a few players coming back from injury. So I thought that this was going to be a lot tougher, and possibly, one that we draw or even lose. You just don't know. Because obviously teams, go through a bad spell and then suddenly they get all their players back and they start to click. But really, City started as they have done in previous games. Really, the ball just gets sprayed around, and we were tiring them out very quickly. I mean, the first goal was fantastic play from Colwell in terms of his pass, layoff to Wintle, and an absolute amazing shot there from 20 odd yards in the top right hand corner for Wintle to make it 1-0. And I think the real difference in this game, and I know obviously Ruben Colwell was massive, but I think his brother Joe was absolutely outstanding. I think him and Wintle have got a great partnership there. And I think Wintle's passing, his movement, his breaking up play, and Joel was the same. He was winning those second balls. He was anticipating, passes from their team, and he was breaking up play all the time. And I think Wintle, some of his passes, especially later on, where he was swinging, right to left over to Isaac Davis when he came on, were absolutely outstanding. So I thought for me, those two were our best players, and we controlled the game. We were, as I said, we were just moving them around. I like the fact that, we start with Trot. Obviously if that was Hovarth and he was passing it out 3 or 4 yards and getting it back from the defender, then we would all be worried, hands over our eyes. But, with Trot, we know he used to be a left back, so he's so comfortable passing the ball out. And we're moving their strikers around. The number 9 for them is running to where Trot passes the ball to the right back, and then he's running over there. Then he's running back to the goalkeeper who passes to the left back. So it's all this is helping in terms of, if the opposition haven't got the ball and they're running and running and running, in the end, they're going to get tired out, frustrated. So it's not just possession for the sake of it, but there is a purpose. And, we don't just pass it around 52 passes or whatever. We sometimes will play a long ball from Fish, who's absolutely incredible at making a crossfield pass to Willock, 40 yards across field. He does that so well. So we can really sort of break it up and switch it up whenever we want. And I think for the second goal, again, Willock, coming in, he's obviously on form. City fans, I think you've got to say that the manager is obviously his coaching style and the way he's galvanised these youngsters, as well as some of the experienced lads like Willock. Because we all know Willock's been totally inconsistent last season, even against Port Vale. We thought, oh my God, here we go again. He can have one good game. Then obviously the crosses are shocking. And that was the problem with Willock. He's got ability. We've all seen him score some good goals. He's got a good goal against Millwall last season. He's got that in him. But, to be better, you've got to be consistent. And he's obviously, the manager has done something with him, giving him that confidence, giving that freedom to express himself. And he's suddenly come out of his shell. So again, cutting inside. Yes, he was fortunate, but again, you've got to be in that position where you shoot in on goal and anything can happen. So the defender was unlucky. It probably wasn't going to go in, but that second goal before half time, I think sort of really deflated Plymouth, and if anything lifted City, because I think 1-0 half time, a little bit on edge maybe, but we came out second half the same way with high tempo. Sometimes when you're 2-0 up, the opposite, you sort of psychologically you think, maybe not as on it as the first half, but we came out as if we were losing the game, dictating play, and again the movement and passing were outstanding. I thought Dylan Lawler, sometimes when he gets the ball in defence, if you notice, sometimes he'll actually bring it up to the halfway line. He'll pass the 9, and he looks a bit like Alan Hansen sometimes. He's got so much time on the ball. Yes, he's a young lad as a central defender. He's going to need to improve certain aspects of his game, like the physicality. He's beating the number 9s on a corner on one-on-ones. Not getting bullied off the ball. These are all part of the learning things. As a young lad, City fans are all aware that a 19-year-old central defender in League One, there's going to be tough moments. He's going to have to learn as he goes along. He's playing against men, a lot more experienced, and there are moments where he's hit the ball, to one of the forwards, and it's gone as a goal kick. He's got too much pace, but he's having a go, and I like that. I try different things. So Dylan Lawler for me at times on that ball was absolutely outstanding. He just seemed so at ease. And their new striker they signed from Port Vale for just over £1 million. He had one or two moments, but overall you didn't really see much of him, and that's credit to the central defenders. So third goal, again, looking at Colwell, Ruben Colwell this time. He took the ball, and again, it's similar to Willock, a shot on goal, took a little deflection. Again, the same defender, so he really was unlucky. But credit again to Ruben Colwell, who's started the season absolutely outstanding. I was talking to my friend about last night and say, who is the best midfielder in League One? And I think we've looked at a number of players from different teams, and there are some really good players from some other sides. But I think Colwell has been Ruben Colwell has been the outstanding player so far in midfield in League One. And you'd be hard pressed not to have him as your number one midfielder in this league so far. And I think if you were picking League One side so far of the year, and I know it's early days, you'd have to put Trott in there as the best goalkeeper. I think Capaccio as an attacking right back is the best. I think you'd have to put Wintle as the 6, and you'd have to put Ruben Colwell in. So those 4 players would definitely be in what I would say League One team of the year so far, from the way they've started. And some of the other boys as well would be pushing hard for a place in that side. So we've got the makings of a really good team. The new boys come into the squad. Gabriel Osho from Auxerre to cover at centre half. We know that Darlan's gone out to a Bundesliga club, so that's good news. And we have heard, like I said, I mentioned it the other day, that Alex Robertson, there's been a couple of bids from championship clubs for him between £4 and £5 million, and that is being considered at the moment. Robertson, who's had a injury where he had stitches in his ankle, he has recovered from that, but who knows what's going to happen today and tomorrow when the transfer window. There's also rumours about Callum Robinson that still don't go away. Clubs like Bristol City and other clubs in the Championship could be interested in taking him for up to £2 million. And I think with Callum Robinson, I've mentioned before how good he's been for City, but he hasn't scored since March. And to me, when he came on, and I don't know whether this is just a thing about being off the bench and coming on all the time, but he doesn't look fit. He looked like he was running in treacle at times when he came on. He didn't look anywhere near the level of some of the other lads in that team in terms of fitness and speed. So I don't know. But again, with Robertson and Robinson, one of those players could possibly go before transfer deadline. I have heard that we were looking at a winger from a Premier League club. I've been told it's Manchester City, a young lad there. I don't know whether that's true or not. But, again, we're looking for higher quality types of players. We've got 2 or 3, I've been told from someone who's close to the club, that City are keen on signing. But, we won't know until tomorrow if we can get those over the line. I think, obviously the Osho guys coming in covers right back and centre defence. I still think we need a left back and obviously a winger we definitely need. So hopefully we can get this Premier League player in on Monday. And I say Premier League, obviously not in the first team, but he's part of a Premier League side. And I think we still, if obviously it does happen that Robinson does go, then we would need another striker. So it'll be interesting to see what happens for Cardff City tomorrow. I think we'll be quite busy. We do need some more players in. But yeah, the performance was great, wasn't it? I mean, Isaac Davis came on. I think what I was talking about Ryan Wintle is he won the ball deep in City's half and played a brilliant crossfield ball over to Isaac Davis, who is very fast off the mark. And, he's got a habit of scoring, goals in City's games, the last few games. I don't know if he's got 2 or 3 now, is he? And he's someone who definitely adds to the squad. It would be nice to see him start. I think Salic, for me, and I really like Salic, and I think he's someone who could easily get 15, 20 goals for us. But I do wonder in Murphy's way of playing. I mean, Salic is a big lump, very physical. He would, those crosses that come in, the headers, that's his bread and butter. And I think in a team that are passing it around, I've seen him a few times. Technically, I don't think he's as good on the ball as a lot of our younger lads. And I think it's a little bit frustrating. He's working hard for the team. And I thought, I said at the beginning of the season, when are we going to get 65 goals to be in a position of top 6? Because that's what you're going to really need. But, obviously Salic has only got 1. And, we've had 7, 8 players in the team who've already got goals. So it doesn't really matter where the goals come from, does it? As long as we're scoring and winning games, that's all that matters. So I think it's better in a way that, you're getting goals from different areas. But Salic certainly, doesn't get as many crosses on his head as I thought he would. I mean, that's sometimes due to the lack of quality, as it has been from Tanner and Willock previously, sometimes from Ashford. I thought Ashford, again, sometimes on the right-hand side, he doesn't look as strong. But he played really well later on in the half. He was linking up for that goal that Willock scored. And the whole side, really, to be fair, they've cemented their position in this team. I think we have got the experience on the bench with NG and Chambers, Robertson and Robinson. But it's the younger lads, with their confidence and the way they're passing it around. And I think, being top of the league only helps them in terms of taking them on to another level. And I'm really, really optimistic, what I've seen so far. But again, I think we do need 2 or 3 players in just to maintain this kind of start, which is a little bit of a surprise to me. I mean, it's fantastic, but I wasn't expecting us to be certainly top of the table at this time of the season. We've got the international break coming up, but it'd be great to hear what you thought of the game against Plymouth. Who was your man in match? I thought, as I said, Wintle and Joel Colwell, those 2 were outstanding. Do you think, how do you feel about Robinson going? How do you feel about Robertson going? If 1 or 2 of those go on Monday, and other than a winger and a left back, are there any other positions you feel we do need to strengthen before the window shuts? So yeah, great weekend. I hope you enjoyed the game, and we'll look forward to seeing you after the international break. Take care.